Good morning. I'm Jordan Slocum, and this is the Doane College Review on 90.5 KUTT. Every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. until 8:30, we have the Doane College Review, where we take a look at what's going on around Doane College, whether it's Doane athletics, Doane academics, or any other happenings around Doane. On today's episode, we will hear from Jared Schuurmans. He's a former Doane track and field standout, and earlier this week, he announced he'll be trying for the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. We'll also hear from Doane women's soccer coach Amanda Mason in her first year with the program. And we'll hear from Ann Ziola, the Doane alumni director, to tell us about all of the happenings for Homecoming Week, with Homecoming getting officially kicked off tomorrow and running all the way through next Sunday. We begin by going back to Monday, when Jared Schuurmans officially announced that he will begin training camp for the 2016 Summer Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Schuurmans graduated from Doane in 2010, and the Norfolk native won the 2015 USA Track and Field Discus Championship. He spoke to media on Monday and explained why he came back to Doane and wanted to have this press conference in Crete.
Kind of got this idea about a year ago that in 2016, when I started kicking off my season for Rio, that I wanted to come back to Doane and do that. I usually come back a couple times a year to train, and I thought this was a cool opportunity maybe to kind of start the year, kind of where this whole journey kind of started, kind of a little nostalgic. I think every season's always a little bit nerve-wracking in some ways. You coming off vacation, you never quite know where you're at, so I thought this would be kind of a fun little thing to have some fun the first day and kind of enjoy it, and and then to come back and kind of see my old school and some of the new athletes and see some of the old faces, and I just thought there'd be a lot of great energy there, so I think that's kind of why I decided to do it.
Although Schuurmans is a Nebraska native, he's currently based out of San Diego, California, and one of the challenges with preparing for the Olympics and the other events he's prepared for in the past is that you have to go all around the country and oftentimes all around the world.
That's probably one of the biggest hurdles, I think, for Americans, is that it's very seldom that the Europeans actually come to America to compete, maybe only once, maybe twice a year at the most. So figuring out how to adapt to time change and travel, in overcoming little changes in food and things like that aren't necessarily that big of a deal. You can adapt to that pretty easily, but having to actually be able to travel and compete, getting off a plane after you've been sitting for 14, 16, 20 hours and then having to compete within 24 hours is really hard on your body. So it's really something that has to be really planned out and worked into your program. And that's where, somebody like a really good strength coach. I work with James Myers. He's actually probably one of the best strength coaches in the country. He's definitely the best one I've ever worked with or ever had the opportunity to work with. So having somebody that can, that you've worked with for a long time and understands your body and understands your recovery and, things like that. So having somebody like that and having somebody that has the ability to kind of understand your sport and can kind of adapt is definitely really important. And we learned a lot of that this year. I think in some ways we had a lot of success this year, but I think there's a lot more to come because this year was really revealing about a lot of things about recovery and meet preparation and things like that I haven't had the opportunity to do before, even with all my international experience. A lot of times most of my international competitions came after major championships, things like that, so they weren't necessarily something we really had to plan for.
To reach the goal of the Olympic Games, Jared Schuurmans says it takes a lot of help.
I'm very, very blessed because, I've really learned over the last couple of years that any individual sport, particularly track, is very all-encompassing. It's very much about not just being able to throw the discus, but all the things that kind of go along with it. Having a proper diet, having a good strength coach, have a psychologist, being able to basically not only be in good throwing shape, but all those other things that come along with it, they're all important. So I've got a great sports psychologist. Her name's Tracy Statler, Dr. Tracy Statler, I should say, and she's been worked with NFL players for a long time, and now she's working with track athletes. I've worked with her for a couple years, and that's been really cool. I've never worked with any kind of a sports psychologist before, so that's been really interesting to, kind of learn about myself as an athlete and kind of my strengths and weaknesses, and then, going through mental exercises to, improve it. a nutritionist. I work with Elisa Kendig. She is actually the nutritionist to USA Track and Field as well as the Paralympic, and I think she does maybe weightlifting and some other ones like that. She's an incredibly good nutritionist. We have a lot of the same theories and things like that. So, you know, I definitely put my trust in a lot of people's hands. Yeah, you know, having a great support system is part of being successful. So having people like that work with you is definitely, you know, crucial to your success.
This is the Doane College Review on 99.5 KUTT, and we're hearing from former Doane track and field standout Jared Schuurmans on his path to the Olympic Games next summer. Obviously, preparing for the Olympics takes a lot of training. It also takes the right diet.
I usually eat around 6,800 calories, and there's a lot more specifics than that. I have to have, you know, 20% of that has to come from fats, or you know, 30% of that has to come from proteins, things like that. So, it's been an experience. I've gone from weighing everything and writing everything down and being very meticulous to being able to kind of flow with life a little bit, and some of that's just because I've been doing this so long. I can kind of look and choose and see, and I kind of at least have a general idea. So, you know, in 2016, things like nutrition are going to become a lot more important, just because I've kind of found out over the last couple of years that I throw a little bit better heavier. So, and I'm not particularly good at retaining weight. So we got to last year, basically our goal weight at about 275 to 280, and so now being able to stay at 280 and not, you know, gain more weight, you know, a nutritionist will become a lot more important.
Those are some of the things that go into the preparation. As for the actual on-the-track and on-the-field performance, what does Schuurmans have to do to get to the Olympic Games?
The way that they do the standards to qualify for the Olympics in track and field is you have to hit they used to have the A and the B standard, but now it's just one set standard. So the standard's 66 meters. It's actually the highest standard in history. So it was tough to qualify for this year. So being that I'm the only one with the standard as of right now, big thing is just to go to the Olympic trials in early July, and then to finish top 3. If you have the standard and finish the top 3, that's how you qualify for the Olympic team.
You can check out the entire press conference with Doane grad and Olympic hopeful Jared Schuurmans online through the Doane Athletics YouTube channel. The direct link is www.youtube.com/user/Doane Athletics. Our thanks to the Doane Athletic Department for this audio, and best of luck to Jared Schuurmans in his quest to compete in the 2016 Summer Olympics. This is the Doane College Review on 99.5 KUTT. Still to come, we will hear from women's soccer coach Amanda Mason and Ann Ziola, the Doane Alumni Director, to talk to us about homecoming weekend. Last year ended with a historic win.
Stewart fakes a sweep, throws, caught by the tight end Wetzler for the two-point conversion. The Doane Tigers have upset the #1 team in the country.
What does 2015 hold for the Doane College football team? Find out Saturdays on 99.5 KUTT. Listen to every game and every snap as the Doane Tigers fight for a GPAC championship. For the complete schedule, visit KUTT995.com. It's Doane College football on 99.5 KUTT. This past weekend for Doane was the final weekend of September, and it was a strong weekend. On Saturday, the football team defeated number 10 Northwestern 28-21, which led to the Doane football team being ranked number 10 in the newest poll. The big deciding play in that game was Garrett Borcher's interception for a touchdown.
Dama throws short for Riley. It's intercepted off a deflection by Borcher, and he goes down the near sideline for a touchdown. It was a screen pass to Riley. It deflected off of Riley into Borcher's hand. Borcher was being blocked too, and he caught it and took it to the end zone.
In part because of that interception, Borcher was named the GPAC Defensive Player of the Week earlier this week, and Doane has gotten 3 of the first 4 Defensive Players of the Week. It wasn't only the football team that had success on Saturday. At the Dean White Invitational cross-country meet, the Tiger women were the first-place team, with the Doane men second. On the women's side, the Tigers had the top individual runner in Marissa DeWispeler. Marissa Moore took third with Logan Seek 7th. For the men, they only fell to number 8 Morningside. Eric Weirs was second best individually. On the road, the 24th-ranked Doane volleyball team handled Morningside in 3 sets. Meanwhile, both soccer teams were victorious Saturday at Dakota Wesleyan, with the women's final 3-0 and the men's final 2-0. Then on Monday, the Doane men's golf team hosted and won the Doane Fall Invitational at Wilderness Ridge. The Tiger A squad was first out of 15 teams, and they had 4 of the top 6 individual spots. Cale Benson was first, shooting a 70, 1 under par. Jonas Christensen was fourth, and Mac Alspaugh and Jared Tedesco tied for fifth. Additionally, the Tiger B squad had the 7th best team score, and they had Zach Flodman, who finished 13th individually. Wednesday, the women's golf team finished 9th in the first-round GPAC qualifier, shooting 379. The top golfer was Sarah Vaughn, who tied for 23rd individually. Also on Wednesday, the number 25 Doane volleyball team fell in 4 sets to number 22 Hastings College. And lastly, on Thursday, the Doane men's golf team finished 6th out of 11 teams in the second-round GPAC qualifier from Wilderness Ridge. After 2 rounds, Doane is in second place, 12 strokes behind Northwestern. Doane does have the top individual golfer in Mac Alspaugh, who is 1 over par through the 2 rounds. Also in the top 10 for Doane is Cale Benson, tied for 8th at 8 over par. Welcome back to the Doane College Review here on 90.5 KUTT. Today will be a busy Saturday for the teams of Doane College, and notably at home, the women's and men's soccer teams will be in action hosting Mount Marty College, with the women at 1 and the men at 3:15. For the women's team, this is their first home match of the year, and the first opportunity to play at home for head coach Amanda Mason in her first season as Doane women's soccer coach. We had an opportunity to talk to her earlier this week. First off, your team is 7 games into this season. What are your overall thoughts on the squad at this point?
We've made some major improvements. We've been battling injuries a little bit here the last few weeks, but we're ready. We have lots of confidence on our team. The girls are ready to play. They come to practice every day. They work hard and kind of just seeing improvements each day. So overall, good spirits on the team, and we are ready to continue on our conference play.
Is there any area on the pitch specifically that stands out as being most improved from the start to now?
Our defense, still not the greatest and where we want them to be, but they have seen some major improvements in positioning-wise defensively. I think that's where our biggest improvements have been, and kind of staying together as a group and sorting out marks coming through the middle and all that good stuff. Just communication and getting a leader in the back to kind of organize us has been really big for us.
This is your first year as a head coach with the program. How has the adjustment been for you personally?
It's been good. It's been a learning experience. Obviously, it's my first time being a head coach and kind of getting to make all the calls. So it's been a learning experience, but it's been good. The girls have responded really well. Everybody's kind of bought into the program and adjusted, and they come to work, and so it's been a pretty easy transition that way. Other than that, it's just been figuring out all the behind-scenes work and doing all the day-to-day stuff that has been more of a struggle than team-wise.
Talking to Doane women's soccer coach Amanda Mason, have you had any players really stand out in terms of leadership?
Yes. Kelly Mazina is probably our biggest leader. She's a leader on and off the field. She's really good at communicating to our team. She knows each of the girls personally, and she kind of takes the next step in getting to know their personalities, so she knows how to communicate with each girl on the field. I'd say she by far is our biggest leader, and she's also one of our captains. Now we have leaders all across the field. Our captains are Kelly, Kylie Horton, and Sarah Cushing. So they're obviously some of our bigger leaders. Those are all voted on by their team, so their team respects them, their team looks up to them. Other than that, defensively, Megan Delaney is a big leader in the back, and obviously our goalkeeper, Kayla Wegman.
One challenge your team has faced in the first 7 matches is that every game was on the road. Is it kind of a relief this upcoming weekend that you're finally getting to play some home games?
For sure. We've been waiting for this. The girls are really excited. It's kind of difficult to be away for so long. We started off August 10th, and we're finally just getting to play at home on the 3rd of October. So it's definitely something the girls have been looking forward to. They're excited. They're pumped up to finally get to play at home in front of their home crowd.
Talking to Doane women's soccer coach Amanda Mason, when you look at the teams in the GPAC and the conference as a whole this year, what do you see?
There's a lot of talent throughout the conference. Obviously, as a new coaching staff, we were kind of unfamiliar with the teams. We can watch film, but that's about it. So there's a lot of talent throughout, and you kind of have to show up to play every game. There's not a weak link in the conference, which is nice. It's nice to have that competitiveness between ourselves. So moving forward, we just started. We've only had one conference game, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see what the other teams have to offer.
Have you had any of the coaches in the conference reach out to you, or have you reached out to any of them?
Yeah, I came in. I knew Hastings coach, Chris. I knew him coming in, and I've met Greg over at Midland and Greg over at Concordia, and those have kind of been my base, getting to know the conference and kind of helping me out along the way.
Last question, Coach. What are the biggest things you want to see on the pitch in the coming weeks from your team?
Us just coming together as a team and connecting throughout the field. We kind of have some breakdowns each game, and we have some great moments each game. It's kind of just bringing it together and being able to play a full 90 minutes. Other than that, I think we're ready to go. The girls they're self-motivated, so we're ready to play. It's just kind of bringing all the pieces together in these last couple weeks we've been working on.
That was Doane women's soccer coach Amanda Mason here on the Doane College Review. And again, the Doane women's soccer team will be at home against Mount Marty College today at 1 p.m. The men will face Mount Marty at 3:15. And both teams will be in action again at home on Sunday against Johnson and Wales University, with the women playing at noon and the men playing at 2:15. The soccer teams aren't the only teams that'll be at home today, as the volleyball team will be in action at 5 o'clock tonight against Dakota Wesleyan. At 3:30, it will be JV action. Of course, the Doane football team is in action today. They will be on the road against Nebraska Wesleyan, with kickoff at 1 o'clock. Our pregame coverage will begin at 12:30 here on 99.5 KUTT. And also competing today will be the Doane women's tennis team, as they compete in the GPAC Women's Singles Tournament. This weekend is a busy one around Doane, and also marks the beginning of Homecoming Week on Sunday. And Homecoming will run from this Sunday all the way through next Sunday. I had an opportunity to talk with Doane Alumni Director Ann Ziola to tell us about some of the things going on for Homecoming Week. Obviously, Homecoming Week, people always talk about the big football game, but things get started for Homecoming Week all the way on Sunday the 4th with a couple of events.
Yep, that's right. We get started on the 4th, and we celebrate all week long, and then really the football game and a couple of other alumni awards banquet, that's our culminating factor.
Looking at the schedule here, we'll kind of go day by day. First,
Sure.
On that Sunday, you have the Great Pumpkin Festival. Talk a bit about that.
We do. The Great Pumpkin Festival happens that day in Crete, and it's actually a partnership that the Crete Chamber of Commerce has with several groups around town. And so although Doane isn't sponsoring that event, it's something that we like to try to help out in as much as we can, whether that's with advertising or marketing. And so the city has been growing pumpkins, and we'll be giving pumpkins away to community members and anybody who wants to come on down. And then they'll be able to visit with different booths and partnerships with people from around Crete area.
And looking at Sunday, there's also some things going on throughout the other Doane campuses in Lincoln and Hastings, and even in Denver, Colorado, they've got some stuff going on, it looks like.
Yeah, you bet. We have some non-traditional campuses that we have in Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, and we have alumni chapters that help out with those different groups. And so on Sunday, we have some really great activities that are going to be happening at the Lincoln Children's Zoo, and that'll be put on by the campus there, as well as alumni and other students helping participate. And so people will be able to come down, get into the zoo for free if you're a Doane alum or student, and we'll have face painting and animal meet and greets, everything that you can expect at a zoo. And then also in Hastings, we have a pumpkin patch adventure, and so all of our alumni and students are available to come and celebrate there. They have lots of slides and different hay rack rides to enjoy. And then in Denver, we have a big bowling party. So our chapter down there brings together 50 people or so and celebrates in their own city.
Talking with Ann Ziola, the Doane Alumni Director here on the Doane College Review. Monday looks like it's a pretty quiet day, but then things kind of get back going on Tuesday with a couple different events.
Right. On Tuesday, we have a lot of different things going on, too. One of the things that our students are really focusing on this year is the theme of homecoming, which is stars and tiger stripes. And so we're using that theme to really celebrate our veterans and to honor our students and alumni and community members that have served in the military for us. And so several events on campus will be happening based around that stars and tiger stripes theme. One of those is decorating campus to make it have an Americana theme that works with homecoming. And then we also have several different events dealing with careers. We have a career workshop in the businesses, the sciences, and then also in psychology and sociology. And so alumni will be coming back and sharing about kind of their career journey, how they got to where they are at, and sharing that with students to help give some tips and different networking possibilities. But on Wednesday, we have a Tiger Trot that's happening. And so the Tiger Trot is something you don't have to register for. You just show up on campus to the Perry Campus Center, and this will be a really fun race that will be happening on campus. You can walk, you can run, you'll be going through different buildings and around our bell tower, and it'll be a free will donation, and any money that's collected that day will go to the Wounded Warrior Project. So that's just another way that our students are really trying to tie in that theme of stars and tiger stripes.
Again, we're talking with Ann Ziola, the Doane Alumni Director here on the Doane College Review. Yeah, the Tiger Trot's Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Most of the events for the weekdays, at the very least, are in the evening. The weekend stuff you go through all day. The Tiger Trot, we mentioned a big one. Moving to Thursday, we've got a couple things, including a theater production.
Right. Our theater production takes place at 7:30 at night, and it will take place in the conservatory that's here on campus, and you are certainly welcome to just show up and see if there's some extra tickets available. Otherwise, you can go to our website at doane.edu, and there'll be a spot on the website that you can reserve tickets for that.
And that's called One Man, Two Governors. I assume that's supposed to be pronounced as if you're British, but I don't think I have a very good British accent.
Well, you can try. You can always try. And I think it's really a British farce comedy, taking the fall show that we have kind of on a light spin. But the theater here is outrageously wonderful, and it is a packed house on every single performance. So if you get a chance to come down to Creede, definitely look up our theater programs. They do a really nice job.
And then Thursday night at 10 p.m., they have the pep rally and the coronation. So it'll be a busy night on Thursday.
Right. The students definitely take this under their wing and start celebrating. 10 o'clock is the coronation. They have several students that are put up for Duke and Duchess throughout the week, and then they go through the coronation process that day. And also lots of different groups come together and have skits and songs. Just a good way to really kick off the excitement for the weekend.
Again, we're talking with Ann Ziola, the Doane Alumni Director, here on the Doane College Review on 99.5 KUTT. Also want to mention that theater production, they're doing that Friday and Saturday night as well. So you have other opportunities if you can't come out Thursday. And then Friday has a couple of other things going on throughout the day. It starts off earlier, actually, with some golfing, and you've got bingo by the evening.
That's right. So if you're interested in golfing, we will take anybody, alumni, friends, community members, and we play at the College Heights Country Club here. And you sign in at 11 o'clock, and it's a shotgun start at 12 o'clock. Any of the proceeds that we make at the golf tournament are then given back to our Capital Alumni Chapter, and that chapter helps provide scholarships for students throughout the year, and they also help celebrate and support our Lincoln campus as well with our non-traditional students.
Then we move on to Saturday, of course, the big football game with Dakota Wesleyan at Alpapic Field. Got to get the plug in. You can listen on 90.5 KUTT to that game, of course, with kickoff at 1. But there's stuff throughout the morning, throughout the afternoon, and into the evening on Saturday as well.
Right, and so I really wanted to make sure and mention several of the opportunities that our community members are definitely welcome to attend. And that first one starts at 10:30 in the morning on Saturday, October 10th, and that is a memorial service that we have set up for our V5 and V12 alumni that are coming back. And the V5, V12 alumni are folks that came to us in the mid-40s. So we're talking about 1946, 47, 1945, and around that area. And they came to Doane at that time to train to be officers in the military. And so they were here for a while. They left and went and fought in the war, and then some of them even came back and finished their degree. And so these gentlemen are in their late 80s, early 90s, and we really wanted to make sure that as we're celebrating veterans that they are able to come back and really see how much we would like to honor them. So the memorial service will be taking place at the Anchor on campus, which is right at Osterhout Lane and Iris Avenue. And so everybody is welcome to attend. We'll have a 70-piece band that will be there playing songs and really helping us remember how dedicated that they were to us. And that starts at 10:30.
Talking again with Ann Ziola, the Doane Alumni Director. And there's the stuff all the way into Saturday evening, and then it wraps up on Sunday the 11th. You've got awards banquets, and then it caps off with the homecoming concert at 3 o'clock.
That's right. 3 o'clock on Sunday is when our homecoming concert will happen. And just in case you need something to do on Saturday afternoon, we do have a tailgate that will be happening from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It happens in Stadium Drive, which is right behind the football field at Doane. And we have all kinds of vendors that are going to be showing up. So it's going to be a very exciting deal. We have Runza and Christina's with their Mexican food, Valentino's, Rita's Italian Ice. There'll be kolaches and food trucks and all kinds of things. Our football parents are even putting together a really nice spread that people can buy for cheap, hamburgers and hot dogs and all the sides, and any profits they make will go back to the football team. So be sure and come down and tailgate with us, and then join us for the 1 p.m. football game against Dakota Wesleyan.
And it should be a very fun game, as at least coming into this week's games, Doane is now number 10 in the country, and Dakota Wesleyan is 15. And very possible that after the games Saturday, that could actually have both those teams even better. So it should be two of the top teams in the area playing, two of the top teams in the country, rather, playing. So certainly want to get on out to the Doane versus Dakota Wesleyan game coming up. Talking again with Ann Ziola, the Doane Alumni Director, last question I have for you. And this is more of a personal question. Of all of these events, if you could only attend one, if there's one that you say you have to be there, what would you go with?
Oh, boy, that's tough because I'm involved with helping to plan over 60 events that happen throughout homecoming week. But I'll tell you, as a former student and now as a person that's back here in our alumni office, you really just get the feel of homecoming when you come to the tailgate before the football game. And that's when you get to see everybody that's coming back from around the community and your alumni. You get to celebrate, and you feel that fall crispness in the air. Leading that into the football game, that's a one-of-a-kind feeling. So we just hope that everybody's able to come back and help celebrate with us.
That was Ann Ziola, the Alumni Director at Doane College. And again, Homecoming Week officially kicks off tomorrow and will run all the way through next Sunday. As we wrap up this week's edition of the Doane College Review, we want to remind you of the events going on this weekend. The Doane football team will be at Nebraska Wesleyan. You can listen here on 90.5 KUTT with kickoff set for 1 o'clock, pregame around 12:30. The Doane women's tennis team competes this morning at the GPAC Women's Singles Tournament. Both the women's and men's soccer teams are in action today at home, facing Mount Marty College. The women's game begins at 1, with the men at 3:15. And the volleyball team is in action tonight as they host Dakota Wesleyan. JV action begins at 3:30, with varsity scheduled for 5. And remember as well, the men's and women's soccer teams will play on Sunday at home against Johnson & Wales University, with the women at 12 and the men at 2:15. And that wraps up this week's edition of the Doane College Review. And remember, you can listen every Saturday from 8 until 8:30 right here on 90.5 KUTT. I'm Jordan Slocum. Until next time, farewell.